Hi everyone, this is Nagaram Ramesh, working as an assistant professor in Department of Information Technology at BVRIT, Narsapur. Today's topic is Servlet Lifecycle. Servlet Lifecycle. The entire lifecycle of Servlet is managed by Servlet container, which uses Java X.Servlet interface to understand the servlet object and manage it. Stages of servlet lifecycle. So we have 4 steps. First one is loading the servlet. First load the servlet. This is the first step. And second step is after loading, the servlet creates an instance of that class, that is object. After creating an object, automatically the init method will be invoked. Then the service method is called. After the completion of this request, the destroy method will be executed. So this method execute only once in the servlet lifecycle. Okay, these are the steps. These are the steps of a lifecycle: loading, initializing, handling the request, and destroying the servlet. So, loading servlet is the first stage of the servlet lifecycle. Involves loading and initializing the servlet by the servlet container. If the servlet is not preceding stage, it may delay the loading process until the web container determines that this servlet is needed to service a request. So servlet container perform 2 operations. First operation is loading. The second operation is instantiation. Okay, the servlet container process these 2 steps: loading the servlet's code and in creating instance of that class. So this method calls automatically after creating of an object of a class. Then the service method handles multiple client requests and sends response to the client. After processing, the request is automatically destroyed to be called. Okay, this call once in the applet lifecycle. Second step is initializing the servlet. After instantiation is completed, the servlet container initializes the instantiation servlet object. The instant method in a method, this have one parameter, that is servlet config interface. Okay, this object instantiated successfully. This method is used to initialize resources such as database sources, JDBC data sources. If the servlet fails to initialize, then it informs the servlet container by throwing 2 exceptions: servlet exception or unavailable exception. Okay, this is a form of a init method. Public void init method servlet config throws servlet exception. You have to initialize the objects or variables inside this init method. Then third step is handling the request. After initialization, the servlet interface is ready to serve the client requests. The servlet container performs the following operations when the servlet instance is located to the server service request. It creates servlet request and servlet response object first. In this case, if the HTTP request, then the web container creates HTTP request and HTTP servlet response objects, which are subtype of servlet request and servlet response. Okay, these are the subclass requests or sub-requests of a generic servlet request and responses. So, the service method calls service request, servlet request and servlet response method by passing two parameters as objects. Service method while processing the request may throw these exceptions: servlet exception and available exception, IO exception. This is a form of service method: public void service, servlet request, object, servlet response, object, throws servlet exception or IO exceptions. Last step is destroying the servlet. When the servlet container decides to destroy the servlet, it performs the following operations. First, it allows all the threads currently running in the service method of a servlet instance to complete their jobs and get released. After currently running threads have completed their jobs, the servlet container calls destroy method. The servlet container calls destroy method. After destroying method is executed, the servlet container releases all references of this servlet instance so that it becomes eligible for garbage collection. So this is a destroy method, public void destroyed method. Thank you.
Like, share and subscribe. Hit the bell icon for more updates.